In this video, we'll be talking about how respiration happens. What is the mechanism of respiration in fishes? Now, the organ of respiration is the gills. This is the organ of respiration. It is the organ of respiration for fishes, for tadpoles, and for crustaceans. And I said, your tadpoles is the young one of frog and toad. Generally, the young one of frog is called a froglet, but they both possess the same gills. Your toad and your froglet possesses gills at the beginning of their lives. Remember, the tadpole, the toad or the frog lays egg. From a egg, it changes to the tadpole. Then from the tadpole, it changes to a frog. Right? They undergo an incomplete metamorphosis. A complete metamorphosis is when you are having egg, larva, pupa, then adults. But frogs and toad only have tadpole as the intermediate level, and the tadpole uses gills as its respiratory organ. Then crustaceans like crabs, like crayfish, like periwinkles, like lobsters, those are examples of crustaceans, and they use gills as their respiratory organ. So let us move on. The gills is made up of three major parts. I will show you the three major parts here, but the gills is made up of three major parts. We have the gill filaments, the arches, and the rachas. So let us go down. This part of the gills, this part, follow the pen, is the rachas. These other aspects, I'm sure you have bought fish before. When you open by the side of the mouth, you see this part here. That's brownish reddish color. That's the gill filament. That's the gill filament. Why that hard part that you have to use your hands to tear off? That's the gill arches. So what are their functions? The gill rachas is used for feeding, and so when food substances, remember how does fishes eat? They open their mouth. Let me draw a fish here. Okay, I have a fish like this. How do they eat? They open their mouth, and so the gills is always here. So when they open their mouth and water comes in the water is where they have their food substances like planktons. They can have planktons, like planktons are tiny microbiomes in the ocean. I don't know how many of you have seen SpongeBob. That's an example of a plankton. They can have small plants, they can have small fishes, and they come in. And so they help to trap food particles and prevent them from entering and damaging the gills. This is the gill filaments, to damaging the gill filaments. Let me add that. It prevents it from damaging these gill filaments here. So what happens is that when they open their mouth and the food substance enters into their mouth, the food substance stops at the gill rakers, and it rakes the food and transfer it into the digestive system and not damage the filaments. Now, the gill arches provide support, structural support for the gills. What this is mean is that they hold the gills firmly to the operculum. Let us come here. Now, the operculum is this hard surface. If you have bought a fish like Titus or Panla before, there's this hard surface that you have to open to remove the gills. That's what they call the operculum. So the gill arches holds these gill filaments, this gill structure, firmly to the operculum. And as usual, the gill filament is the site for gaseous exchange. Keep this. This is one place where JAMB or WAEC like to pick questions from. The gill filament is the site for gaseous exchange. Let us move on. So, how are the gill structures different from every of the organism? Now, if you have a bony fish, okay, we're back. If you have a bony fish is, for example, your Titus. I'm picking fish that we know a lot. Your Argentina fish, your all this type of fish. Argentina is popularly called Ojuyobo in Yoruba land. So those type of fishes, they have a very strong slate called operculum. While cartilaginous fish like your sharks, your skate, your rays, they have a gill slit. Keep this in mind. Bony fishes have operculum. Cartilaginous fishes have gill slits. What does bony fishes mean? Bony fishes means they have a very good bone structure. For example, this fin is a bone structure, this fin is a bone structure, the head is a bone structure, while cartilaginous fishes don't have very good bone structure. Instead of bones, they have cartilage. So in bony fish, there's bones. In cartilaginous fish, there's cartilage, and so there are gill slits. Keep this in mind. There are gill slits, and there's the operculum. The operculum covers and protects the gills. The gill slits open directly to the outside of the body. So what is the breathing mechanism in fishes? The first thing is inhalation. And what does the inhalation takes place? Water intake. That's the very first thing. Water has to come in. And how does water come in? From the mouth to the gills and out back through the operculum. So the fish opens his mouth. The operculum is closed. Take note. This is the operculum. The operculum is closed when the fish takes in water in his mouth. And so by taking in water into his mouth, there's a vacuum drawing the water to flow over the gills. Remember, the operculum is closed. So if the fishes take in water into the mouth, because the operculum is closed, the water is forced to stay around here. Let me pick another color for this. The water is forced. Let me see another color. Okay, let's pick this. The water is forced to stay around here, and once the water is trapped around here, the gills in this place under the operculum can then be able to extract oxygen. So the gills remove oxygen from the water. And so once water passes over the filament, oxygen diffuses right into the blood, carbon dioxide diffuses out. So how does this work? The blood flows in the opposite direction of the water flow. Keep this. The blood flows in the opposite. So when the blood is flowing straight like this, the water is flowing like this. So as water is bringing out oxygen, the blood is taking the oxygen directly into the bloodstream. And so it maximizes oxygen absorption from water. And so how does exhalation happen? Remember, there is inhalation, gaseous exchange, there's an exchange, and there's an exhalation, right? So how does the inhalation is where they are taking up inhalation? What are they taking in? They are taking in water. And gaseous exchange is whereby the operculum is closed, and once the operculum is closed, O2 is absorbed, O2 goes in, CO2 comes out, carbon dioxide comes out. And exhalation, now the mouth is closed. The mouth is closed, the operculum, this operculum is opened. And so water now is now low in oxygen and high in carbon dioxide and washes out. Let's recap. In inhalation, what happens? The mouth opens, water comes in. Gaseous exchange, oxygen is taken, carbon dioxide is passed out. In exhalation, mouth is closed, operculum is open, and then operculum can allow the water to come out. What are the adaptations for effective breathing? Continuous water flow. Many fishes like sharks swim with their mouth open to ensure a constant, effective flow of water over the gills. Basically, what this means that if a fish is staying in water, there's continuous water supply. That's why if the water is bad, it affects the fishes. Number two, we have countercurrent mechanisms, whereby this basically is talking about the blood. Remember, we said the blood flows like this, water flows like this. And so as water is flowing in, the oxygen can be absorbed immediately into the bloodstream. So I want you to pause this video in this place and see which of these would be your answers. Which of these do you think will be your answers? Question 1, question 2, question 3. And after you have paused it, answer it in a note, and then we'll come back to check your answers. Now, these are our answers. The question says a structure that prevents food substances. A structure that prevents food substances from escaping through the fish gills is called, remember, there are three parts. There's the arches, there's the filament, and there's the rachis. We said the filament is where gaseous exchange happens. The rachis is for removal of food substances. The arches is for holding the. Let's go back to what we did here. Right. So remember these three parts: the filaments, the rachis, the arches. We said the arches is for holding the gills firmly to the operculum. This is holding it firmly to the operculum. Let's go back. And so the only one that prevents food substance from escaping is the gill rakers. Now let's continue. Siphon and gills are structures in adaptation used for what? We may not know what siphon is, but we know what gills are. And so that is gaseous exchange. It cannot be buoyancy, because buoyancy is about swimming, it's not about excretion and others. Which of the following adaptation is commonly observed in organisms for survival in water? So let's start. Thick 4 for insulation. We know it cannot be thick 4. Why can it not be thick 4? Because if an organism has thick 4 in water, it will sink. It cannot be large ears for hearing, it cannot be long legs for running. We know it is gills for respiration. So check your answers and then leave your answers. If you got everything correct, then you can move on to the next video.